This is a quick interview with Denise. I interviewed her a couple times, so we'll link up to that. But I just wanted to kind of kick off a case study that we're working on together. So I work with some students occasionally, and I explain that in the video here. Before I send it over to this short interview, I want to let you know that the week that this video is being released, my course is open. It's called Multi-Profit Site. You can check it out. Essentially, it guides you from starting a website. If you don't have any ideas yet, it'll take you through brainstorming, keyword research, setting up your site, publishing content, getting traffic, promoting your site, and growing it in general. So it'll take you sort of from start to finish. And the goal is to be able to launch a site within 8 weeks and have something out there. So there's a few bonuses associated with it if you are able to enroll and check it out. There are 3 different levels. There's some one-on-one coaching for some of them. Check out all the details if you follow the link in the description. If you're not into courses, if you don't have the budget right now, that's cool. No big deal. You can just watch all my free content. No pressure, but a lot of people do want a course to provide a framework, essentially, and kind of a blueprint on what you could follow. So Denise is one of the students in the course, and that's why we're working together right now. So be sure to check that out, and I'll shut up and get out of the way. This is definitely part of a longer interview series just in general. So there's a couple other interviews. We'll be working together for the next, year, basically. So be sure to check out some of the updates out there. And here's the discussion with Denise. Hey, what's going on? We're going to get a quick update from Denise. And Denise went full-time not too long ago. She is part of the coaching case study that we're going to be working on together in 2023. And I work with a handful of my students. Not too many, but people that enroll in my course are, they're somewhat eligible to work with me and do these live sort of ongoing case studies. So we're going to hear about Denise's story, what she's working on, any challenges that she's had, upcoming challenges, and what she's going to be working on. So Denise, let's get a quick intro for people that don't know you. We will link to some of the other interviews we've done, but who are you? What's your background? What are you all about?
All right. Hey, Doug. Hi, everybody again. Yeah, glad to be doing this. Just a quick intro. My background is in marketing. So I've been in marketing, kind of a creative person my entire life. Always been into art and painting and graphic design. So I probably have been building websites since really young, and I'm not going to spoil, going to have to listen to the other interview to know about my website at 12 years old. But yeah, I've been doing that for a long time, but it wasn't until probably 2015 or so that I left my job at the time, spent a year traveling, kind of took a sabbatical, needed a break, started doing a lot of things on my own, freelancing. And I think it was around that time that I came across Pat Flynn's podcast. And that was my introduction to this world of passive income. So ever since then, I ended up going back to corporate. I'm the director of marketing until about a couple months ago, and going full time. So in 2021, decided that blogging and niche sites was something that I really wanted to pursue and learn more. Took some SEO courses, started learning more about that, and then kind of came across the idea that you could actually acquire a site. So since 2021, I ended up acquiring 2 sites, which are the ones that I'm going to be working on for these case studies.
So you quit your corporate job. How did it feel? Were you nervous, or are you currently nervous from taking the big step?
I mean, if anybody jumping off of a job that pays you, well into the 6-figure to go blogging on something that is not really making that much. I mean, barely pays my bills right now, but it got to that point that, my day job was getting in the way of my niche sites. So I think, yes, definitely there's that, point of being nervous for sure. But I've, happy. I think it was something that I had been working towards for several years, and you know, being part of the Phi community and all of that, it was, this is what I've been working towards for quite some time, and just glad to be doing that.
Cool. Yeah, it is. It's scary because I mean, you don't know how it's going to turn out, and you can't blame anyone else. When you have a job, you could like blame your boss or some other stuff or whatever. But yeah, you own everything. You make all the decisions, and that's one of the things that we've been working on, kind of to get you focused. So, how many sites do you have? You mentioned, you've acquired two. How many sites will you be focusing on as well? So that's kind of a loaded question, but
Yeah. I think the last time I counted, I believe I have 6 websites. They mostly, a couple of them make a little bit of money here and there. The 2 large ones that I acquired, they're both in the travel niche, very different topics, audiences. But those are the 2 that I'm going to be focusing on. They are kind of the big money makers. So following your advice, I'm going to put the other ones aside. I'm not going to touch them and, just focus on these 2, which, since we started working together, even working on the 2 has been really difficult. So there is obviously the one site that I'm focusing a little bit more on now.
everything takes longer than you think, right? You're like, "Oh, I'm going to do whatever, like 50 blog posts this month." And then you get started and you're through like 10 or something. Do you have any specific stories like similar to that from our time working together?
I think, it was that I'm just going to do all of these things, right? Like, so the first time we met, I had this list of like, this is my plan. This is what I'm going to do for each one of the sites, opportunities. And you're like, yeah, forget all of these, focus on these 2. And I think, even just, I have time now, right? Like I'm full time doing this, wake up, walk the dog, have a cup of coffee, start working. But with that comes is like, okay, now there's all of these things that I need to do. And everything is just takes longer, right? So one thing that I'm doing is optimizing old posts. It's not as easy as just going back and taking something that exists and do a quick update. No, then I'm like, let me do keyword research on this post, see what else I can rank for. What are all the opportunities I have for affiliates to include in here? And then when you look at it, it takes me probably longer to update old content than if I were just sit down and write new stuff. So
Sure.
I think that was part of one of the lessons that, like what, reality checks for
Right.
sure.
And this is going to be a short one, but I can't help. But I do the same thing where I'm like, I'm doing too many things. It's just easier to, I mean, I'm coaching you, right? So I can like
Mhm.
see it very clearly. And you could see it very clearly if I was like, hey, I'm working on this stuff. You would just say, why are you doing, like, just work on the one thing. Like, why are you working
Yeah.
on like 6 other things? But I did get you to go from like 6 sites to 2. And I think you're better off for it. And I mean, you could always go back. That's the thing. You could always go back, but there's a good chance you're just going to let those sit and just move on with your life. Okay. So, how are you monetizing the sites? And can you talk about some of the recent revenue numbers as much as you're comfortable with sharing?
Absolutely. So both sites in total, I was making, I think over the holidays, because there is a seasonality, especially travel.
Sure.
So over the holidays, it got, up, over $4,000 with the 2 of them combined. It's a mix of Mediavine and affiliates. Not that much of affiliates right now. I think that that's one of the opportunities that I have to really focus more on that. But overall, kind of on a regular months, the past couple months, the average on site 1 has been somewhere between 1,500 and 2,500. And then site 2 is pretty steady at around 800. Like I've gotten a couple of like over $1,000 on that one. But yeah, on average, 2 of them combined, I would say somewhere like the 2,000, a little bit, like solid 2,000 up.
Okay. 2,000 to 4,000, depending on seasonality. And
Mhm.
you live, I can't remember if we say where you live, but you don't have to mention it. But it's like a tier 1 type city in the US. So kind of expensive is the point, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of
I mean, I
expensive.
could say I'm in Miami.
Yeah. It's a big
Yeah.
city.
So I think and I think it's like number one in the, cost of living right now because
Oh shit,
salaries
really?
too. Yeah. Because the salaries are low compared to New
Okay.
York or San Francisco. So yeah.
Oh man.
And
Yeah.
so
And
yeah.
I'm in the Denver area. It's kind of pricey, but like I think it's, I think it's like in the middle or something like that. It's not super expensive. And weed is legal here. So that's cool. Just, randomly. All right, moving on. So, what are your main things to do, your goals over the next, say, 3 months, a quarter?
I did a lot of housekeeping. So I did change the theme on both sites. That was something that I had been wanting to do for quite some time because I felt that that was keeping me from doing a lot of things that I wanted to do with the sites. Now I have a theme that I'm comfortable working on with. I've seen a lot of improvements on traffic and speed just by doing that. So I did do a lot of that housekeeping. I do want to start optimizing posts that I have high traffic already. So, those posts are already popular. What can I do on there to perhaps, add affiliate opportunities that I've been missing out? I did find a lot of affiliate links and things that were not working, um, old things. So there's just a lot of that, especially, you buy a site that you're not fully familiar with the
Right.
content. Like I know all those destinations, but how the website was built and those links that were included. So it's a little bit of a process. And just start building email list, adding more content, creating content clusters. Again, there's a lot of things to do, and this is why I need Doug to tell me what to focus on
Right.
because otherwise I'm not going to make it very far.
Okay. Yeah, there's plenty to do. And one thing I want to just go a little deeper on, you said that you felt like the theme was holding you back. And that's an area where often I'm like, don't worry about the theme. Like, who cares? Just move forward. Why was your theme holding you back?
Well, on each site, it was a different reason. Site one, it was something that was a little outdated. The site had been built on a child theme to the Genesis framework, which is a great framework. But because it was a child theme, there were certain things in there that I couldn't change. And, technology had evolved with blocks and all of that. And it was just clunky and hard to manage that site. So that was with site one, um, just limiting what I could do and kind of, not being able to use features that are newer. And then for site two, you know, love Mediavine, but it was built on the Trellis theme. So not only, you got to pay, I don't know, I think it was like $15 a month or something, was what that theme cost. And it was just, I just didn't like it. It was just heavy and the same thing, right? Difficult to manage.
Right.
But yeah, I don't like paying for themes. I have a couple of good ones that I've
Yeah.
paid for already that I can use in all my sites. So yeah,
Okay.
so it was more of that, part of that, like speed and just the ability to design and make changes.
Okay. Got it. All right. Last couple questions here. So, any major setbacks or failures in your journey so far? It's only been a few years, but yeah, any kind of issues you've run into?
I'll say this. I don't think that there's like big things other than obviously the shiny object syndrome, which is the reason why I came to you and I asked, to to be a part of your coaching program so you can help me stay focused. Um, but I'll say a couple of things that I did not expect buying a site. I think if you buy perhaps a niche site, product reviews or something, you wouldn't run into that. But I did struggle to connect with the content of the site. So for a long time, it was like, this is great. It's a travel place. I've been to all of these locations or 98% of them. I have that experience. I can talk about it. I've done it. I love travel. But the bulk of the content was written by somebody else, and it had somebody else's perspective and voice. And for a long time, I found myself, when I started adding content, I found myself trying to mimic that voice instead of putting my own. So I think I'm still struggling with that. Changing the theme definitely helped. Um, kind of just being, now that I'm able to do this more, kind of spend more time working on the blog, interacting with the email list, and kind of having those interactions with people, it's making it a little bit more comfortable. I feel like, okay, this is my own, like this
Yeah.
is, from that point on, this is mine. So I think this is that mindset shift that you got to do, and is just embrace it. It is a business at the end of the day, but I think just because of the nature of a travel website, there's a benefit to being a little bit more personal in what the content that you're doing.
And you're a traveler too, so it makes sense that you
Yeah.
wanted to connect with it. Long-term goals. So say, I don't know, 2 years out, 5 years out, something like that. What do you want this to look like?
Well, money wise, for sure, I would like to get close to what I was making and salary, hopefully more even. But I left my job knowing that there's going to be a period there that I'm not going to be making a whole lot. And there was a conscious decision. I'm ready for it. But for sure, there is a financial component there. And eventually, when I get more, I think in that 2 5 year range, I think I would like to be at a place where I have more freedom. The sites are generating enough that I can then focus in building other things, in pursuing other projects, other businesses that I'm interested in. So I
Okay.
think that and hopefully, be able to travel more, which was a big
Right.
part of this, right? Like
Right.
just be able to work from anywhere.
Cool.
And have more security, I think, in the next year. And then from there, kind of just expand and be able to do other things.
Perfect. Thanks, Denise. So people can check out your blog posts where we're going to be publishing like monthly updates. We'll link up to the other interviews that you've done as well. So thanks a lot, and we'll catch up in just a few more days.
Very awesome. Thank you. I can't wait to be sharing all of this journey, and you guys are keeping me honest. So this is good.